All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others.
That is the most famous lie in English literature, Leo, and it's also the secret to your fluency.
Today, we are diving into the masterpiece Animal Farm, written by George Orwell.
Most learners think they need a 500-page textbook on global politics to sound professional, but they are wrong. George Orwell proves that you can explain the most complex ideas in the world, power, corruption, and leadership, using the simplest English possible.
If you are still translating in your head, it's because you are trying to think in abstract concepts. Today, we use visual imagery. When you can see a pig wearing a human's coat, you don't need a dictionary to understand corruption. You just see it.
The story begins at Manor Farm. The owner, Mr. Jones, is a drunk and a cruel master. The animals are miserable, hungry, and overworked.
But one night, an old pig named Old Major calls a meeting in the big barn. He has a vision. He tells them that man is the only creature that consumes without producing. He says, remove man from the scene, and the root cause of hunger and overwork is abolished forever.
Let's stop there. In basic English, you say stop or end. But in a professional setting, we use abolish. You abolish a bad policy, you abolish an unfair tax, or you abolish an outdated rule. It sounds powerful and official.
Old Major teaches them a song called Beasts of England and gives them a goal, rebellion. He dies shortly after, but the seed is planted. The animals aren't just unhappy anymore, they are revolutionary.
If an idea changes the entire industry, don't just call it new, call it revolutionary. Our new software is a revolutionary tool for data management. It creates excitement.
One day, Mr. Jones forgets to feed the animals. They've had enough. They break into the store shed, kick the humans off the farm, and lock the 5-barred gate. Manor Farm is gone. Animal Farm is born.
This is where the mental bridge happens. Two pigs, Snowball and Napoleon, take the lead. They take a pot of paint and write the 7 commandments on the wall of the barn.
The most important rule was, all animals are equal. Maya, at this point in the story, the animals are unanimous. When everyone in the meeting agrees 100%, don't say, everyone said yes. Say, the decision was unanimous. It shows you have total agreement.
For a while, the farm is a success. The harvest is bigger than it ever was under Jones. The animals are proud. But then the mental lag starts. Not for the animals, but for the reader. We start to see the pigs taking extra milk and apples for themselves.
When the other animals complain, the pigs send a small pig named Squealer to explain. Squealer says the pigs need the apples for their brain work. He says, surely, comrades, you do not want Jones back.
That is a threat, but he hides it in clever words. This is called propaganda.
In business, we often see marketing, but if a company spreads biased or misleading information to control how people think, that is propaganda.
As the farm grows, a conflict develops between Snowball and Napoleon. Snowball wants to build a windmill to give the farm electricity and modernize it.
Instead of saying make it new, say modernize. We need to modernize our communication system.
Napoleon hates the idea. During a big meeting, just as the animals are about to vote for Snowball, Napoleon whistles. 9 giant, fierce dogs jump out and chase Snowball off the farm forever.
Now, Napoleon is the sole leader. He stops the Sunday meetings. He says all decisions will be made by a committee of pigs in private.
This is the end of democracy on the farm and the beginning of tyranny.
A tyrant is a leader who has total power and uses it cruelly. In a toxic workplace, you might hear people describe a boss's tyrannical management style.
Napoleon then tells the animals that the windmill was his idea all along. Squealer explained that Snowball was a thief and a traitor. The animals are confused, but the dogs growl, so they stay silent.
Now we meet the most important character for our hearts, Boxer the horse.
Boxer is the strongest animal. His answer to every problem is, I will work harder. He represents the hardworking people who believe in the system.
But Napoleon exploits him.
To exploit means to use someone unfairly for your own advantage. Companies should never exploit their interns.
One day, the windmill collapses. Then it is rebuilt and destroyed again in a war with humans. Boxer is getting old and tired, but he keeps pushing. Finally, his lungs fail.
Napoleon tells the animals he is sending Boxer to a human hospital to be cured. But as the van drives away, the goat Benjamin reads the sign on the side. Alfred Simmons, horse slaughterer and glue boiler.
They are sending their most loyal worker to be killed for money. It is the ultimate betrayal.
A betrayal is a complete break of trust. In business, if a partner steals your clients, that is a professional betrayal.
Years pass. The animals forget the old days. The pigs now walk on two legs. They carry whips. They wear Mr. Jones's old clothes.
One night, the animals look through the window of the farmhouse. The pigs are having dinner with the local human farmers. They are laughing, drinking, and playing cards.
They look at the barn wall. All the commandments are gone. There is only one left. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others.
The animals look from pig to man and from man to pig, and they can't tell which is which. The pigs have become the very thing they started a revolution to destroy.
This is hypocrisy at its highest level.
Hypocrisy is when you pretend to have high standards or beliefs, but your actions prove you don't. Before we finish, we have to talk about the symbolism. In Animal Farm, the windmill isn't just a building. It represents the impossible promises leaders make to keep people working.
Exactly. In professional English, we call this a vanity project. It's something that looks impressive but doesn't actually help the team. When you see Napoleon blaming Snowball for the windmill's collapse, that is scapegoating.
To scapegoat someone means to blame them for your own failures. The manager tried to scapegoat the intern for the missed deadline.
George Orwell uses these symbols so you don't have to translate political manipulation. You just see the windmill and the pig's lies. By connecting these images to these power words, you are literally building a new English-only map in your brain.
You are no longer a student repeating words. You are a thinker using English as a tool for analysis. But there is something even more dangerous than the dogs or the whips in the story, Leo. It's the revision of the past.
You're right. Every time the pigs break a rule, like sleeping in beds or drinking alcohol, they secretly change the paint on the barn wall. The animals remember the rule was, no animal shall sleep in a bed, but when they look at the wall, it now says, no animal shall sleep in a bed with sheets.
This is gaslighting.
This is a very popular modern English term. It means making someone question their own reality or memory. In a toxic workplace, if a boss denies a promise they made, that is gaslighting.
Why does George Orwell show us this? Because he wants us to see that language is power. If you control the words, you control the people. Squealer, the pig, tells the animals that their memory is defective. He uses jargon to confuse them.
Jargon refers to special words or expressions used by a profession that are difficult for others to understand. In the story, the pigs use complex calculations to prove the animals are happy. In your career, don't use jargon to hide the truth. Use it to be precise.
When you learn these power words like gaslighting and jargon, you aren't just learning English. You are learning to see how people use language to influence you. This is the highest level of thinking in English, critical analysis.
By the time the animals realize the words have changed, it's too late. Their silence was their consent.
Consent is permission for something to happen. If you don't speak up in a meeting when a bad idea is suggested, your silence is often taken as tacit consent.
Why did we spend 1,300 words on a book about animals?
Because now you have visual anchors for complex English. You don't need to translate dictatorship. You just think of Napoleon the pig. You don't need to translate hard work. You think of boxer.
When you read George Orwell, your brain stops looking for your native language because the images are too strong. That is how you build the mental bridge.
Your homework: download the first chapter of Animal Farm. Read it out loud. Don't use a dictionary for 20 minutes. Just let the images guide your English.
Stop translating, start seeing.
We'll see you in the next masterclass.
Stay confident. Bye.